So she was future pacing and thinking down the road. And then when it would get to where they wanted it, it was a high value now, and she had paid nothing for it. And so then she
Wow.
would negotiate, hey, this is what I want for that, and she negotiated some really, like bought land at tax sale and then sold it to the city years down the road next. And they traded her land next to the university, which obviously is high value property.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
just, it was fascinating, but it was literally only a very few transactions that built this massive amount of wealth that sent all her kids to college, all her grandkids to college, traveled us all kinds of
Wow.
amazing places. And I think we overthink it. We think
Yes.
that, oh, I got to do it forever and it's got to be a lot, and it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that specifically to the listener in the community here. We've got this faith-driven leaders kind of podcast where a lot of people are listening from the lens of their relationship with God, who is a God of providence, a God of prosperity, a God of abundance. Not a prosperity gospel preacher over here, but he provides. He's our provider. And then they're also coming at it from a lens of entrepreneurship and leadership and how do I do this more effectively, pragmatically. And then you're over here telling us it doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so difficult. It's like taking away this idea of religion, one, which I'm so grateful for because you're an advocate for relationship, but also it's taking away this like heavy burden, right? The heavy laden burden of like, gosh, life is so hard. Entrepreneurship is so hard. Everything that I do has to be so hard. I don't get to be a mom in this season or a wife in this season because I'm just hustling to get the next dollar.
Yeah.
You simplify it. And I want you to start specifically because I think it's profound with like that first investment that you made and how you got the cash to do that. And then also like teach us some simplifying methodologies for us to be able to do the same thing. Because I think ultimately anyone who's listening is like, hey, me too. I want to be a me too in this scenario.
It's funny. So a couple of things. My grandmother had a real estate license, and she always told me, you don't make your money selling real estate, you make your money buying it.
Mm.
And I was like, what? Like, you do this for a living. What do you mean you don't make your money selling real estate? But what she meant was, so the first house that I ever bought, I want to say I was like 19, maybe. And I was all the rowdiness of a 19-year-old girl, and I needed to get out of town because I was going to end up in trouble if I didn't. And so I moved to this town actually that I'm sitting in right now. And I was paying rent, and I was like, this crappy apartment sucks. Like, I know that I'm supposed to buy real estate. That's what my grandmother has done my whole life. So she had a real estate license, and the beauty of a real estate license, even if you don't use it to make the purchase, you can use the commission as your down payment. So two different things that happened at that time. My grandfather had passed away when I was 13, and he had left me a little tiny piece of property in the middle of nowhere that nobody ever heard of and really wasn't worth much. I held on to that. Obviously, I couldn't sell it till I was 18 or 19. I sold it for $10,000. So I had this $10,000. And yes, that was an absolute blessing to me, but I know that anybody can come up with $10,000.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing that I hadn't thought about, and I was thinking about this the other day, is she had a real estate license. And so she never charged us when she would represent us as an agent. She would just tell them, let her keep my commission. And so those two things went as the down payment on my house. It was probably a total of 13 grand, right? And, now your commission 3% could be your entire down payment. If you just had a real estate license and went and bought your own house and used your commission as your down payment, you don't even need a down payment. And so used those two things. I qualified me for a loan back then with no job. I was a college student, and I thought, well, how am I going to pay the bills on a house? I have a mortgage now. How am I going to do this? So I got some roommates. As a matter of fact, my boyfriend moved in with me, and I started charging him rent. And him and his buddy paid rent on this brand new house. It was a beautiful little place. And I never bought what I wanted. I always bought what I could afford. And so this was a little tiny bitty place, and they paid the mortgage on it. We lived there probably 4 years and sold the place. And I made, I don't know, $150,000 as a child. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing this. Like, this is, so I caught the bug. And then I was like, what else can I buy? Make $150,000.
Yeah, for real. And to know that it's so small. Like
What's
your
that?
profound note here of like, I didn't buy what I want. I bought what I could afford. This is just like, if America did this at large, imagine the situational difference we would all be in. So that's profound.
Yeah. Yeah, I think often, like, whether it's cars, clothes,
Yeah.
anything that we're spending money on, we're always trying to they say, "Keep up with the Joneses," and we
Yep.
do that, but the Joneses are broke, like, they have insane credit card debt, they have all kinds of liabilities and mortgages, and those are the people that have to hustle, hustle,
So
hustle,
true.
because they have no choice but to keep up that lifestyle. If you build it in a way that's incrementally growing each time you can afford and you're upgrading, pretty soon you have an incredible you have the lifestyle you wanted to build, but you don't have the debt that goes along with it.
So do you think now, because that was obviously a couple decades ago when you did that $13,000 down payment and purchase, what does that number look like now for someone who's like, "Hey Tamara, if you could get $10,000 or you could get $30,000, then we could play." Like, what is that number like?
Probably 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
That's still
It's
not
not
that
no.
massive difference.
And
Yeah.
like I say, if you go take the 90-hour real estate class and you just use your commission as your down payment, you don't need anything. Like,
So
as a matter of
crazy.
fact, you don't actually need anything to buy a house, and that's one of the big misconceptions. It's
Mm.
not easy, but I just closed, I had some friends that were paying like $5,000 a month, for a house because there were 6 of them, and they were
Yeah.
like, "This is ridiculous." And they didn't have any down payment. They were living, it was hard to even come up with extra income because it was so expensive where they were renting.
Absolutely.
And we just used a combination of some creative loans put together, and they literally moved in for no dollars out of pocket. So
Wow.
it's not, I mean, we make it way harder than it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think it's also presented that way so that it doesn't it kind of affects the market in general, it affects the mindset in general. So, give us some more from that lens on mindset connected to, you know, generational wealth. And I think real estate being the main kind of vehicle here that we're talking about, you even put some calculators inside of the book on where are you at now? Where do you want to be? Let's talk about some of the assets that you're focused on inside of the book. And then how can we like jump into that? Obviously, we need it as a resource. So everybody's got to go and get the book ASAP because you're going to want it. Family Banking Blueprint. Go right now to Amazon, purchase it. It's going to be in Barnes and Nobles before you know it. Talk to us a bit about those so that we can kind of wrap our head around it beyond just like you need to go get a real estate license and go buy a house.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, you don't have to do any of that, but
Yeah.
it does help because real estate historically has always gone up in value. Like, we've had some blips where things drop, but if you look at the history of real estate, it's an upward trend, even
Right.
if we had some blips. Um, I would say there was a lot packed into that question, so let
There
me
is.
know if I forget what
It's
you're
okay. I'll guide you.
mindset-wise, again, I looked at these 2 women and I'm like, "What in the world is the difference?" And really it was one believed she could and the other believed she couldn't.
Yeah.
So number 1, like, getting out of our heads and just reminding ourselves, like, God created us to be amazing and abundant and in his image. He didn't create us to lack and to like we are in his image, which means like we can do amazing things. And
Yeah.
so just reminding ourselves, even when we don't think that, it's still true. So change your thinking because you're not going to change your life until you change your thinking.
Mm.
Beyond that, like I literally just wanted to walk people through. A lot of people have ideas and skill sets and talents, and learning how to monetize them so that they can save that extra money to have the down payment to create the portfolio of real estate that then pays them passively, because there's a period of time where you do have to hustle and work hard
Yeah.
and generate some money such that you can buy things that pay for themselves and pay for your lifestyle. And so there's like this whole timeline kind of thing that you can expedite and go fast or you can go slow.
Yeah.
But I just walk through that. And then, a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know whether to buy this or not. I don't know if the numbers work. So I threw in there some investment calculator resources. Um, I think one of the biggest things that makes us stumble is we don't even know where we're at. I talk to people every day who are sincerely believing they live paycheck to paycheck and there's no extra money in their account. And
Right.
then we go through and we audit their accounts and we look at what is actually a necessity versus what is a luxury, and
Right.
how long can they deal without luxuries so that they can think about future. and they'll find thousands of dollars in their account, even when they truly, truly believe when they come to me that this is not a possibility. And I think being aware of what is your net worth, because when you gamify it and make it fun, like
Mhm.
people hate to talk about money.
Yeah.
It's yucky, it's boring, it's all these things. But if you can gamify it and make it fun, and if you know where you're at and you're tracking your levels and you're working to level up and work towards this goal and you make it fun, all of a sudden you're making it fun everywhere. And that moves the needle instead of so often people talk about money in a way that's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to read a book on money. I don't want to talk about accounting or taxes.
Right.
Taxes are fun. Taxes are just the game of money and the game of moving money in the way that the government needs to fund things. And so
Wow.
when you realize that's a fun game, like let's play it. You love the sun coming through.
I
Sorry.
do, I do. It's just
I
it's like
love
a halo of light coming. God's like, "Hallelujah, listen, taxes are fun."
Sorry, I didn't plan for that.
It's so good. But I just want people to wrap their head around it. We've got even people who are on live right now, and they're like, first up, they wanna meet Grandma Claire.
Yeah.
And then secondly, just like the simplicity of thinking about an audit, right? Like people don't pause long enough to even process what is going on financially for me to continue to have this limiting belief of I don't have enough or I'm working paycheck to paycheck or how exhausting this is. Like that literally is the hamster wheel of
Yeah.
the American dream.
Yeah.
And Kristen is literally giving us an invitation to say you don't have to live that way. And
Yep.
so if that is at all raising your blood pressure to a place of excitement or interest, the book is for you. The trainings are for you. She hosts retreats specifically for women. I can't wait to be on them. That is for you. Like to really go into an immersive educational opportunity to take off the fixed mindset of what has been blanketed on you, whether it's generationally past, trauma past, societally past, and to get into Grandma Claire's mind and say, I can do this as a woman. Like there's something so empowering about that.